Okay, I'm going to try to explain the power valve in the Crosman 2300, which has a lot of variables. People who shoot the 2240 are going to have a completely different objective and experience. It's like comparing what a big block and a small block engine to a big block and a small block guy. They're not going to agree on what they want to do with that. So this is different. This is for the 2300. The principles are the same, but the way you put it together would be different. For example, this is a normal Crosman power valve. This is how the inside look. This is where the some people call it the striker or the firing pin. It's for all intents and purposes a poppet valve, period. It just happens to have a needle at the end to pierce that CO2, but once the CO2 is pierced, you could get rid of that. It's just a poppet valve. So when the poppet valve opens, you go through this area here, through the transfer tube, pellet goes down the barrel. Now, to understand everything, let's start at the beginning with the hammer spring. And the hammer spring, you have to think of it as a clock, a timing device, because it's not going to change the amount of pressure that's in the CO2. That's a fixed amount. And if the poppet valve remains open after the pellet is gone, it's doing you no good whatsoever. You're just blowing CO2 out the end of your gun. If you have a 14-inch barrel, and these are both heavy springs, if you have a 14-inch barrel, going with something like this may be something you would be interested in. It would be helpful. People with 22 caliber barrels and a Boss valve where the volume here has been increased because of the material removed right there, this could possibly be of value. But it's still a timing device. The heavier the spring, the longer this stays open. Don't think about distance, because the distance, how hard it hits, means absolutely nothing. It's the time that the poppet valve is off its seat. Now, with the Crosman OEM spring, Crosman did their homework on that. They wanted to sell a product that gives lots of shots to the customer, is economical to use, fun, so on and so forth. So their OEM spring is the right timing device. And remember, it's time. How long does it stay open? Meaning, Crosman did not want it to stay open. It has nothing to do with power or velocity. Crosman didn't want the poppet valve off its seat after the pellet had left its barrel. That just wastes CO2 and lowers your shot count. So what I'm trying to convey to you here is the OEM spring is the spring you want for the scenario I'm going to explain to you. All right. This is the Boss valve, which I have one here, right there. All he's done, or not all he's done, he's done his homework. He'll sell you this with a transfer tube, a larger transfer tube, and you will see performance gains with it. So don't get me wrong. He's knocked off this corner here. He's taken a Dremel and gone in there, and he's improved the gas path. But I submit to you that the improvement of the gas path also increases the volume of this area in between the poppet valve and the pellet, and that's a negative. I'm not saying it's a wash, but I believe the number one improvement for the Boss valve is the transfer port tube that he sells. I don't know what the measurements are, but anyway, if you want more velocity and power, you can buy that valve and you won't be disappointed. I don't remember what the gains were, but what we're talking about is my valve and my gun, and what I've done. So I've done the same thing, but I spent a little more time. Obviously, he's just knocking these out and selling them, and he's got a formula. It works. It's all good, but he can't spend a full day on one valve. I can. You can. So my valve has been contoured to the maximum. And also my valve, these threads have been, half of them have been removed on a lathe. Most people can't do that, but you can send it out to have it done. It's well worth it. Also, on my gun, the poppet valve has been hourglassed. I think that's, oops, I'm not sure if you can see it, but maybe you can see that. It's been hourglass right here because this is a restriction point and this is a restriction point. So when you have this in here, you actually don't have the same volume as you do here. You have less. So if you put a little divot there, when it's in the open position, in a perfect world, say this is 144 thousandths, and on my valve and on my power valve it is. If you could calculate how much to remove here, and I'm sure you could, but I didn't, to make the area around this also 144 thousandths. So yeah, that could be a calculation. You could mic that and figure that out. But anyway, I didn't do that. I just did the hourglass modification. And also, this is an unmodified one. You see that sharp edge right there, and mine's rounded. Just helps the, again, it improves the gas path around it. Okay, so the whole deal is you want the maximum velocity of gas for the exact amount of time the pellet is in the barrel and accelerating. No more, no less. This will give you your maximum velocity, which I think the 2300 owners go for, or at least I do, because I've actually shot at rats and they've jumped out of the way before the pellet got there. When I actually had a 22 caliber barrel on it. I actually bought this barrel. It's a Walther. Had it cut, sent it to a machine shop, put it on the gun, but the velocity was not acceptable. So anyway, back to this. You want increased velocity. So with the Boss, when you open up the volume here, you improve the gas path, but you decrease the velocity because you have more area for it to fill. What I did is I filled this one in with JB Weld, and then took a number 4. Obviously, when you hold the valve at an angle, long story short, it'll sit right there. But now you're obstructing this gas pass right here. So you got to take a number 4 drill bit just by hand. Actually, you chuck it up in the drill bit and use the drill as leverage, and you remove the JB Weld back to flush with the front of this port, and that cleans up this area but leaves the ramp. Okay, and so now you've improved the gas path, but you've also increased the velocity. So it's a win-win, and your gains are multiplied. along with having my transfer port is a 144 thousandths transfer port. This is 144 thousandths as well. So a less complicated view of my valve is right here. This is how mine looks compared to the normal one. So I've decreased the volume here, obviously, the length and also the length that the the CO2 has to travel, and I've matched the transfer port and the gas port to be identical. So I've drilled out my transfer port at 144 thousandths, and I've actually drilled through here to 144 thousandths through the JB weld, so it's completely rounded. I'll show you a picture of that, which will help you to understand that, in fact, this is my new valve. Increasing the volume here is a big deal for consistency. Using the stock hammer spring is also a big deal for consistency. So I'm getting 600 feet per second, 35 continuous shots at an average of 600 feet per second, and that's what I'm looking for. Obviously, I'm using a lighter pellet. It's a 7.33 grain. Okay, this is to show you that the schematic I drew is actually what I did here on the valve. As you can see the JB Weld gray potting material, we'll call it for right now. And then as you rotate it down, that is a perfect hole. And you can see the seal cutting across the area where the firing pin, we'll call it, seals right there. You see that light gold crop? That is JB Weld, and that is a perfectly straight 144 thou hole, as efficient as you can get. This is a tack driver, and I think it was just absolutely meant for the Crosman 2300. I've ordered some RWS hobbies that are actually still lead and match grade, and they're 7 grain. So I'm going to run that through. That might increase my velocity, and as long as my groups are the same, because I'm a dime size group, under a dime, at 30 feet or 10 yards. So win-win situation. And 600 feet per second average for 35 shots. You're getting 40 shots out of a CO2 at between 580 and 606 feet per second with this scenario. 40 shots. I don't think you can go wrong. I only use 35 if I'm trying to get small groups, but if I'm just knocking swingers in my little Gamma reset pellet trap, I'll use 40 shots. So, I mean, it's a win-win. 600 feet per second, 40 shots average, you know, you can't beat it. But the trick is lots of volume here, improved gas path, matching transfer port, obviously extended bolt probe. But the stock hammer spring, you are wasting CO2, and you're also blowing up your consistency. Just the whole thing is wrong. Trying to get everything done with a hammer spring or a bolt probe is not going to work. You have to have more volume of high pressure gas, so that when this opens for the period of time that it does, you get nothing but high pressure, high volume gas consistent. And after the shot, the CO2 can refill it again. So volume is important. The volume is not going to improve anything. It's the gas path and the transfer port that's going to improve anything. You need to just have a more than required amount of high pressure gas available. If you have this smaller chamber here, your PSI could drop, and therefore your velocity is going to drop. Everything has to be matched. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, working on this gun. Obviously, I've, multiple combinations I've went through over the time. And this is what I've settled on. And I'll show you that string of shots. I think it's impressive. If you're getting better numbers, meaning your shot count is higher, your velocity is higher, and your standard deviation is lower, post it and tell me how you did it. But this is what I think. But there's not a lot of videos on YouTube on the 2300 and full cronies of a CO2 and performance numbers. This is the only one to my knowledge. Okay, I'm copying this string of shots across the chronograph for posterity. This was done with oh gosh, man, what can I remember? JBL or something like that. Exact. The important part is they're 7.33 grain, and this is a review. So this is the 34th. The other one was the 35th. This is a string of 35 shots. Look at the consistency here and the velocity or energy. It's unbelievable. Now, obviously there was 40 shots. I deleted the last few where the pressure was dropping, and the first two, which are always low for some reason, were the CO2. So this is just the 35 that I picked. Because this is where I'd be shooting. I usually dump the first two shots, and then I only go as far as I know. I only shoot as many pellets as I know my gun will accurately shoot. So I would have 35 in my pocket. So those last 5 I wouldn't have shot anyway. Look at that. Unbelievable. So 40 shots I got, and I think I stopped at 580. So obviously I could have got 50 shots. But okay, so my high was 606, my low was 593, average was 600, extreme spread was 13 from the lowest to the highest, and standard deviation of 3. That, I defy anybody who has a CO2 177 caliber pellet gun to put up that kind of a string. That's epic, I think.